morning, everyone. I'd like to recognize the presence of a good friend and colleague, Senator Mike Nicholas. Thank him for being here for a very special resolution presentation to recognize and commend our Assistant United States Attorney, Karon Johnson. I want to welcome you. Thank you for being here. Of course, you're the lady of the hour, and your husband, Rob, Shirley Miller. Thank you so much for making this request of us that we take a moment and pause in our legislative day to do something worthy of this kind of recognition to this woman who has done a lot for our island community in her role as a U.S. Assistant U.S. Attorney General, but more especially the work that you do for our animal population here, our other friends, and also Mr. Dave Davis. Thank you, sir, for joining us. This resolution is 298-32. It's introduced by myself, Senator Nicholas, and all other members of the legislature. And it's a very long resolution because it memorializes all of that you've done for our community. And in the resolution, it specifically talks about your work with one of our former senators here, Senator Judith Gutherz, and she would have loved to be here, but she's now teaching at Antolon Middle School. But it talks about your role as Assistant United States Attorney, working there since 1989, and that you prosecuted thousands of criminal cases, including immigration fraud, drug trafficking, the sale of counterfeit merchandise, official corruption, wire fraud, mail fraud, and environmental crimes. It talks about your work throughout the islands as well, and more pertinent, I guess more specific, your work with gang and how you help to organize that organization. And I know that Mr. Davis is here because I recall when Greyhound closed down and those pets were adopted by some families, but for the most part they had nowhere to go. And you guys really stepped in, and there's so much success stories with that. And so you're talking about what else we can do for the stray animal population, and what else needs to be done that we need to push a little bit harder, right? And so although you're retiring and you might be leaving us soon, you'll always be close to Guam. And that's the reason why I enjoy giving these resolutions, because it kind of has a caveat that you would hang this in your home office, or if you decide to continue law somewhere, you would please hang this in a prominent place that you would go to every day and look at it and think about everything you've done here on Guam, and maybe you'll come back to Guam. Yeah. So I would like to ask my colleague really and thank you for being here and joining me to present this resolution. And it's a bittersweet moment because every time we commend someone and recognize them for all that they've done for our island, it kind of means that because they're retiring and they're moving on. But it's sweet because we hope that you will not move on physically, and that you would always do what you can to help the people of Guam.
I can't
Thank you, Karon.
I'm a crier. It's been a privilege.
Can I say too that when we had public hearings here and you're in the room, people always wonder, is she here as a assistant U.S. attorney observing the legislative process, or is she here for some other reason? And I want to recognize that you've helped guided my committee, who has oversight over agriculture, who at the time had oversight over the animal shelter. And we did many great things, like authorize them to provide for their own euthanasia means. Remember that? You helped us with that. You helped us with our pet quarantine laws to reduce it from 120 days of quarantine down to 5 days, if not allow them to be transshipped immediately. And because
Where'd she go?
Shirley, yeah, Shirley,
And Dave Davis, the organization has been carried by about, over the years, maybe 30 or 40 people who have spent thousands business of ours. And these two, Dave Davis and Shirley Miller, have supported the shelter. They've carried animals all over, the legislation, the finances. These are the engines that drive it. The Greyhound Rescue again got national news because of the 250 greyhounds that they rescued and were able to find good homes for stateside. And the kind of time and dedication that it takes is just mind blowing. And these are wonderful people. Thank you.
Mr. Davis, would you like to say something? Okay. You're just right about it. Okay. Of course, you're very and then your husband. So let's just take a picture. And again, thank you for all that you've done for all of us, including our pets that have been adopted or have otherwise been abandoned, and then hopefully adopted through those success stories. And
This is the guy that go to court for us. Several times, 3 times. He's ended up suing the government of Guam, and he won every time.
I'm gonna quit while we're ahead.
That's the truth.
thank you, everybody.